This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm very excited to introduce my special guest for today. We have with us Satya Purna, who is an entrepreneur and certified money coach for business owners and professionals. She helps her clients discover and resolve their self-sabotaging money behaviors so that they can create more wealth, success, and freedom in their lives. Hi Satya, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for our chat today. I think there's so much to talk about around this topic. So yeah, excited to be here.
So much to talk about. So before we dive in, tell us, what's your story? How did you get to becoming a money coach?
Okay, so it's been interesting. I feel like I've been interested in personal development for a really long time, since I was 15 years old. My parents were really into the old school self-development back in the day. So books like, The Magic of Thinking Big and Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Who Moved My Cheese. And there are all these books that used to be in my house, growing up as a kid. So I used to love reading these books because whenever I used to read these books, I feel like, oh, there's so much that's possible for me. It's not like there's only one path in life. It's not like you have to go get a corporate job or work from 9 to 5 or work until 65 and then only you can enjoy your life. There's so many ways you can live your life, right? So there was this kind of voice in my head and this belief that I could create what I wanted to create. And that really supported me because I used to be a professional tennis player. So I used to play tennis when I was a kid, under 18. And I really enjoyed being a junior tennis player. And so much of playing tennis is a mindset game as well. So I kind of, it benefited me in that respect. But then after that, many years later, I graduated from college and I had my job for a few years and stuff. There was this part of me that really wanted to start a business. So I started a marketing agency when I was 25. And it was a pretty successful marketing agency. I still own it. And I made over 6 figures in the first year of running my business, which was amazing for someone who's 25 years old, right? So after that, as I started growing my business, the one thing that I realized was that even though there's a lot of emphasis on, growing your revenue and really focusing on making as much money as possible or working on as hard as you can or hustle and all of that, it doesn't necessarily lead to wealth if you as an entrepreneur don't know how to turn that revenue into wealth. And in that journey, it's not just a journey of numbers, it's not just a journey of math, it's so much of a journey of your mindset and of your emotional self, more importantly. So as I was going through this journey, I was noticing my own patterns as an entrepreneur and also the patterns of my colleagues and my clients and the people around me in the entrepreneurial space. And what I realized was that the mindset and the emotional side of making money and turning it into wealth is super critical. That kind of makes or breaks your relationship with money. So I got really fascinated by that. So I decided to get certified as a money coach about 2 years ago. And I've been working with my clients and there have been some amazing breakthroughs. So that's kind of how I ended up doing this. So I've had different kinds of businesses, but this is one of my businesses that I enjoy the most.
Amazing. I'm just gonna pause for a second because the sound it's good enough, but it's a little bit choppy, and I'm wondering if it's your headphones.
Okay.
If maybe it might be better without your headphones.
No, it wouldn't be better without my headphones. So I'm just trying to think what else we could do.
I love that. So yeah, I'm super interested about your insights around our emotional connection to money, because I feel like this is something that isn't talked about enough. There's so much advice around like, you know, automatic payments into your savings and like invest and, you know, like all of the like what to do's, like the actions of
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
But you know, like speaking for myself and like so many of the women that I've had conversations around money around, there's so many emotions that get in the way that make it feel so hard to follow some of the simplest advice to grow wealth, or even to just, you know, sitting down and like educating yourself and changing your behavior, changing your mindset and changing your habits. That really that does lead to, you know, like not overspending, not building up debt and growing your net worth. So tell me a bit about like what you've seen around how it's so important to address our emotional connection to money.
I love that. That's a great question. Okay, so just to address what you just said, Sarah, like, you know, overspending and like going into debt and all of these things, I just want like everybody who's listening to know that like you're not alone in feeling like scared or overwhelmed or nervous around money, right? Nobody is alone in this. And the reason for that is in our brain, like over the last, like, let's say hundreds of years, since like money has been a modern construct that we are all engaging in, the fact is that in our brains, money is very closely tied to survival, the same way food is tied to survival, right? Because now, like in a modern society, you're not going out and farming and like, you know, harvesting your own food, right? You're not producing your own food, you're producing money, which allows you to buy food, right? So in our brains, the way we associate with money and the way we associate with food are like very close to each other, which means that we look at money as a mechanism for survival, right? Now, the interesting thing here is you'll notice that a lot of things that we talk about around money is very similar to the things that we talk around being healthy. So let's say if someone wants to lose 10 pounds, right? If any person wants to lose 10 pounds, if you went to them, ask them, do you know how to lose 10 pounds? They probably know that they need to eat healthier and they need to move more, right? There are only two things you can do to like actually lose weight. You just eat healthier and you move more, because so that you're using up more calories than you're expending, right? It's a very simple formula. But does that mean that we eat healthy when it's 10 p.m. on a Thursday night and we just had a horrible day and we just want to feel better while sitting in front of the TV? No, like we're going to reach for that pint of ice cream, right? Like that's just what we do, because in that moment, it's not about your logical brain that knows that you're not supposed to reach out for that pint of ice cream at 10 p.m. on a Thursday. Your brain knows that you're not supposed to do it, but you do it anyway because you want to feel better, right? So that is exactly the same thing that happens with money as well. We all know that we're supposed to save more. We all know we shouldn't be overspending. We all know that we shouldn't swipe that credit card. We know all of that. It's just that we are not doing it because of the emotional reasons why like you're doing those behaviors, right? Just to feel good.
Before we get back to the episode, I have something exciting to tell you about. There were a couple of key things that changed everything in my life as an entrepreneur that allowed me to bring in 6 figures while working half as many hours and having more fun than ever before in my business. It was money mindset work around how I was doing business, combined with getting good at sharing strategic sales content online. I know you know that this is your year to start hitting your 10K month income goal and living the life of creative freedom and fulfillment you have been dreaming about. You're ready to be consistently attracting total dream soulmate clients through the creative content you're sharing on social media, and you want to be reaching more people, charging higher rates, and working much less. So I'm very excited to invite you to join me in Freedom Club, my mastermind, where you'll receive tailored high-level support to master the skills that will create your dream life and 6-figure dream business starting now. With focused weekly trainings and coaching calls to find the clarity on your content that's going to make you the most money, to design a simple, fun launch strategy you'll enjoy following through on, plus daily support and feedback from me in the Voxer chat, you'll find that sweet spot in your business where you're the most confident in your work, having the most fun, and making the most money. Go to withsarahmac.com/freedom club to apply now. Now let's get back to the episode.
So the interesting thing that I've noticed with a lot of my clients is that when we talk about their journey from their childhood until who they are today, that's one of the things or one of the exercises that we do together when I work with my clients. one of the things that we notice is that most of our clients have a story from their childhood about what kind of a person they are or how life works for them. Okay. And that story is pretty much like 100% of the time playing out over and over and over again. It's just that they're not conscious of the fact that it's playing out. So their relationship with money is like super closely tied to that story of their childhood, of like who they think they are. And the patterns that are happening in with their money consistently are the same patterns that were happening in this emotional storyline that they have been experiencing in their life. But the interesting thing is, even though this pattern is repeating over and over again, most of my clients are not exactly conscious of that pattern, right? Like until we talk about it, until they see it like written down, until we talk about it, they have no awareness of it. So the moment like I point that out or say, hey, do you notice that there's a storyline here that you're living over and over again? And they're like, holy shit, you're right. Like you are, like that is the storyline I'm living over and over again. But the moment of awareness is actually a really beautiful thing, because they've been living their life on autopilot for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And finally, when they get aware of like, holy shit, this is what I'm doing, that is the first time in their life that they have a choice to change that storyline, to pick a new storyline, tell a new story, right? So this is something that I've noticed with all of my clients. Like, it's not your fault from the perspective that you don't even know it's happening right now. So it's not your fault. But the moment you're aware of it is like a beautiful moment, because now you have the power to change that storyline. So that's something that I noticed with my clients over and over again. And I think it's an amazing thing to work with them through that process.
Yeah, I think this is like the single most important conversation to be having about money, because, and I'm writing a book on like my transformation with money at the moment. And like, it's been an opportunity for me to do that work again and really reflect and like, look at why money mindset work really allowed me to transform my financial reality.
Yeah.
And it just has become so glaringly obvious that it's 100% to do with identity and how we see ourselves. And obviously, like, that's such a multi-layered conversation, because it's about obviously like your role models within your family and what you learn about money just by seeing, the way that people around you modeled that. So obviously it's like gender specific, like when you identify with your mother or your father or whoever your caregivers were, and you're the same gender as them, like their reality with money starts to, you create your identity around money starting there. And then obviously like culturally, like socially, racially, socio-economically, geographically, like there's so many influencing factors on our identity. And we're tribal people, right? So then you've got all of that, like you don't want to stand out and you need to stay safe and like fit in the tribe, so you don't want to be different, and then all the money shame, and like there's just so much like cultural baggage around money. So what have you seen are some of like the most powerful ways to really like understand your emotional responses in your relationship with money, kind of like moment by moment, day by day, and really start to stop acting unconsciously and to be able to make more empowered and conscious decisions?
I love that. So I would say the number one thing that you can do, which you pointed out as well, which is the identity bit, is like so important. The thing is, and this is one of my favorite books ever written on like personal development, I would say, is this book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Have you read it?
No, I haven't, but I'm
Okay,
gonna order
it's
it
super
today.
cool. Yeah. It's super cool. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's actually a really old book. It came out like a long time ago. It's like the granddaddy of like personal development. It's awesome. I love it. So basically, one of the things that Dr. Maxwell Maltz, the author of that book, says is that your life and your identity is actually created through experience, right? Like your identity from like when you were a child to a teenager to a young adult to who you are right now. Your life has been created through experience, and you've taken that experience and turned it into an identity, right? Now, for most of us, when we went through childhood, which is, a pretty long time, let's say it's 18 years, that through that 18 years, there are going to be moments or incidences that really imprinted very intensely on you, right? It might be your parents getting divorced. It might be, getting bullied at school. It might be like, having a positive breakthrough for that matter. Like you moved from one country to the other, or like you became a young athlete, or whatever that might be, right? Like whatever that might be, even if it's a positive incident, there were many incidences, or at least let's say there were a few very critical incidences that had a very clear impact on your identity and who you think you are, right? Now, unfortunately, for most of us, that happens on autopilot, and we have not consciously created that identity, right? Because that experience just happened to us. We just took that experience and we were like, okay, this is who I am based on this experience, right? Now, what Dr. Maltz says in psycho-cybernetics is that you can actually create your own identity by giving your brain synthetic experiences, which is like visualization, basically, right? So when you're able to visualize and feel into a new experience, you can literally show your brain what it would be like to have a different experience, a more positive experience. So let's say, for example, you're a business owner that consistently makes $50,000 a year, for example, and you want to be the kind of person who wants to make $1 million a year, okay? So the thing is, as you're just walking around your normal reality, you're not just going to bump into an experience that makes you a millionaire, right? Like it's probably not going to happen because your reality is based around this identity of a person who makes $50,000 a year. So if you want to make $1 million a year, your brain needs to experience what that is like before the event actually happens. So before the event happens, you need to be able to visualize and feel into what would be a three-dimensional experience of having $1 million business. And as you experience that in your mind over and over and over again, you actually start building an identity of, I'm the kind of person who makes $1 million a year. Like I can see myself doing that. I can see myself having that. I can see myself doing X, Y, and Z. I can see myself sending big invoices. I can see myself negotiating a $500,000 project. I can see myself managing 30 people. I can see myself running Facebook ads, like whatever that is. Like you need to be able to see yourself doing that and having a positive identity around that $1 million or making $1 million, so that it's not like so out of range for like who you are as a person, right? And as you start practicing that over and over again, you actually start building an identity of a person who already has it. And once having something is consistent with your self-image, it actually becomes a lot easier to create that. Whereas if you see like, oh my God, $1 million is up here and I'm just like a little person, there's like a huge gap between who you are and what you're seeking. It just makes it a lot harder to make that jump. But when you're able to experience the new level over and over again, it's like you're basically leveling it out. So it's consistent for you to have $1 million, So it's just one of those things where I feel like creating a positive identity, like this is one of the best practices to be able to do that. And the best part is it's completely free. It doesn't take that much time. It's just about repetition and being able to see yourself as a person who has $1 million.
Thank you for sharing this. This is such a genius idea. I'm going to go and make this meditation for my clients right now.
Yeah,
I haven't done this before. This is such a good idea. I love that. I could talk about this with you all day, but we're going to wrap up this conversation for now. But please tell everybody, like, what have you got going on? Where can they find you if they want to check out more of your work?
Yeah, so people can check out my website. It's just satyapurna.com. There are a bunch of like ways in which we can work together. There's a contact form if you want to reach out to me. I am on Facebook, so if you reach out to me on Facebook, I will reply. I'm not super active on Instagram, so it's probably not the best place to find me. But yes, Facebook is good as a good place to find me. And yeah, reach out if you need any help or if you want to continue this conversation and talk more about your money journey. I'd be happy to do that.
Such a juicy conversation. Satya, thank you so much for coming, and thank you everybody for listening. Please share this episode with anybody who you know deserves to be making more money, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.